Welcome to the Ram Roundup, our weekly reporting of Fordham sports. This is the first edition for the Fordham men's soccer team. I'm Corey Miller for WFUV Sports, now joined by the men's head soccer coach, Jim McElderry. Jim, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Now, Jim, coming off of A10 champs for the conference last year, a good end to your season. You started all out-of-conference games with a record of 2-4-3 in the first month. You guys started 0-3. And then had a good start or a good end to that stretch out of non-conference. How would you assess your play with your team through the first 9 games?
Yeah, I think it's been a work in progress. I think we've added a bunch of new players in important positions, with freshmen playing in goal and playing up front, and we've been a little unlucky with injuries, but that's just the nature of athletics. So we've had a lot of changes in our lineup over the last couple of weeks, but I'm happy with the attitude of our players. We were unbeaten there for 4 games and, hit a little bit of a wall this past week playing Lehigh. They played very well, and we just didn't come with the energy needed. So, sometimes you learn more from a loss than you do from wins. So I think we'll be prepared for our game against LaSalle this Saturday.
Yeah, also a tough rainy game there in Pennsylvania. Looking at this week, your first A10 game. Now, coming into the season, they've changed up the way the scheduling has worked with Wednesday games and Saturday games, giving you guys an extra day to practice. How has that changed your practice schedule and the way you go about things going into game day?
Yeah, we tried to mimic that a little bit with some of our non-conference schedule as well, because it is different. In the past we played Friday, Sunday. We'd have, off days would be Monday, and you'd train Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it was really a regimented schedule. Now when you add a game in the middle of the week, there's more rest for games, but there's a little less real practice time because it's recovery the day after a game. So it is different, but I think it's better for the quality of soccer. Our players will stay healthier. There's an extra day for them to recover. So the Friday, Sunday old schedule was just too much on their body. So I think it'll be good for the league and overall just for soccer in general.
Now, you mentioned your matchup with LaSalle coming up this Saturday in the Bronx. How do you feel about this matchup coming into your first A10 game? And then how do you feel about the A10 in general as the season comes down to the final couple of games, the final 8 games of the season?
Well, I think in terms of the A10, it's always tough. You've got some teams that have a lot of history, St. Louis and George Mason and Davidson, et cetera, VCU. So it's always very, very competitive. In the end, though, the attitude is always, for all the teams, is can you win your home games? Can you pick up points at home and keep yourself in the mix as the season goes on? We play 8 games, and you're looking at 4 or 5 wins to try to guarantee your spot in the conference playoffs. Where you finish, who knows? It's always coming down to that last weekend. But the first game is important, regardless of our opponent. You're trying to win that first game, especially when it's at home. And we've had a lot of history with LaSalle. Coach Farrell does a great job there. I know they'll be very prepared for the game. But ultimately it comes down to little plays here and there, the details of the game, and we think we'll be prepared for the match.
As we said, the defending A10 champs, Coach McElderry, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for coming.
Welcome back to the Ram Roundup, now joined by senior captain Ryan Cupola. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, Ryan, we just spoke with Coach, and he's pretty happy overall with the way you guys have played through the first month with a 2-4-3 record. Got off to a rough start. Ended up playing a lot better. How have you assessed your team's play over the first month?
Yeah, I think we definitely had a bit of a rough start, but I think it was actually a good start for us just because we had to deal with adversity early on. We had a bunch of young guys coming in who needed to learn how to deal with adversity. So being able to have these new guys, it built team chemistry just dealing with that adversity. And then moving forward, we had a streak of unbeaten in 5, so that really we were able to deal with that adversity, get over it, and then move forward strongly. So I think that really helped our team. We had a bit of a slip-up this 2 days ago at Lehigh, but we kind of want to sweep that under the rug. It's one that we want to get over quickly, have a bit of a short-term memory, and just move forward to our conference going in strong.
Now, you were one of the rocks on the defense of that A10 championship run. Now you guys have more flexibility in the defense. You've sort of changed positions. Can you tell me about the change and sort of your mentality going into games and how that has changed as well?
Yeah, so it's definitely a learning experience moving up to the midfield. I've spent my whole career playing center back, but it's nice that we're able to have that flexibility to move me forward. And anytime a coach asks you to move forward and join the offense, you're more than excited to do so. So when he kind of asked me if I wanted to join the midfield, my ears perked up, and as soon as he said it, I was ready to go. So every game I'm kind of learning the ins and outs of how to turn positionally, stuff like that. But just kind of watching soccer in general and knowing the game, it's kind of just learning that position and then work hard as a constant in no matter what position you're playing. So as long as I keep that work ethic, keep working hard each and every single game, and then learning the position each and every time I step on the field, I think I'll be able to handle it.
Now you guys have a big matchup against LaSalle this Saturday, your first A-10 conference matchup of the year. How do you feel going into this game, and how do you feel about the rest of the A-10 going forward?
Yeah, I think we feel confident. Like I said, we had a bit of a slip-up at Lehigh, but we're kind of sweeping that under the rug. We're looking forward to the conference just because it's the style of play in conference. It's the intensity level raises no matter what, and it's a toss-up. Every game you play, you have to go in, no matter what team you're playing, skill level-wise. You just have to approach it the same. You're going to work hard. You're going to focus on your team. LaSalle, it's a bit of a different story. We've played them in the past at their home, which the conditions of the field aren't great, but we're happy to have them or host them here for our home opener of conference in front of our home crowd and on our home field. We feel that will give us a strong advantage.
That's senior captain Ryan Cupola. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that's it for our men's soccer edition of the Ram Roundup. Special thanks to our guest head coach Jim McElderry, as well as senior captain Ryan Cupola. Come out and support the Rams this Saturday at 1 p.m. as they take on LaSalle here at Jack Coffey Field. I'm Corey Miller for WFUV Sports. Please tune in next week for our Ram Roundup.